Good morning. And let me begin with something that may completely change the way you look at the leftovers sitting in your refrigerator right now. Have you ever reheated last night's dinner without giving it a second thought? Most of us have. It's convenient, it saves money, and it feels perfectly harmless. But what if I told you that after the age of 50, your body responds very differently to food that has been improperly stored or repeatedly reheated? As we grow older, our digestive system becomes more sensitive, our immune defenses naturally weaken, and our ability to recover from foodborne illnesses is no longer what it was in our younger years. A meal that causes only mild discomfort in a younger adult could lead to serious complications for someone over 50. The surprising part is that the danger often isn't the food itself. It's how that food is handled after it has been cooked. Some foods can become breeding grounds for harmful bacteria if they are left at room temperature too long. Others lose valuable nutrients every time they are reheated. And in certain cases, repeatedly warming leftovers can significantly change their texture, flavor, and overall quality. Research from food safety organizations has consistently shown that improper cooling, storage, and reheating account for thousands of preventable foodborne illnesses every year. While anyone can be affected, adults over 50 are among the groups at highest risk of developing serious complications. Today, we're going to look at 5 common foods that deserve extra attention before you put them back in the microwave or on the stove. More importantly, I'll show you the safest way to enjoy these foods without putting your health at unnecessary risk. And I encourage you to stay with me until the very end because the final food on today's list surprises almost everyone. It's found in millions of homes, and many people reheat it several times without realizing they're increasing the risk of food poisoning if it wasn't stored correctly. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your age in the comments and tell me which leftover food you reheat most often. Your experiences may help someone else make a healthier choice. Cooked rice may seem like one of the safest leftovers in your kitchen. After all, it's simple, affordable, and eaten by billions of people around the world every single day. But here's something many people don't realize. When it comes to food safety, rice deserves much more attention than most people give it, especially after the age of 50. The issue isn't that reheating rice automatically makes it dangerous. The real concern is what happens before it ever reaches the microwave. Uncooked rice can naturally contain spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores are remarkably tough and can survive the cooking process. If cooked rice is left sitting at room temperature for several hours, those spores can grow into bacteria that may produce toxins. Unfortunately, some of these toxins are heat stable, meaning reheating the rice later may kill the bacteria, but cannot always destroy the toxins they have already produced. For adults over 50, this matters more than ever. As we age, our immune system becomes less efficient at fighting infections, and our digestive tract may become more sensitive to harmful bacteria. What might cause only mild stomach discomfort in a younger person could lead to much more severe symptoms in an older adult, including prolonged vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, and, in some cases, hospitalization. Think of cooked rice like a fresh bouquet of flowers. The moment it's prepared, the clock starts ticking. The longer it sits in a warm environment, the faster its quality begins to decline. Food safety experts often recommend refrigerating cooked rice as soon as it has cooled slightly, ideally within about 2 hours of cooking, or even sooner if the room is especially warm. Once refrigerated, rice should be stored in a clean, airtight container to reduce contamination and preserve freshness. When you're ready to enjoy it again, reheat only the portion you plan to eat. Heating leftovers over and over again not only reduces texture and flavor, but also increases the chances of improper handling during each cycle. One habit I often recommend is preparing smaller portions from the beginning. Instead of making a large pot that will be reheated multiple times throughout the week, divide freshly cooked rice into individual meal-sized containers before placing them in the refrigerator. This simple step minimizes repeated exposure to room temperature and makes reheating safer and more convenient. Imagine 2 people who cook the exact same rice on Sunday evening. One leaves the pot on the kitchen counter for several hours before refrigerating it and reheats the same batch several times over the next few days. The other cools the rice promptly, stores it in individual containers, and reheats each portion only once. Although they started with the same meal, their food safety habits are completely different, and so is their potential risk. The good news is that you don't have to stop eating rice after the age of 50. Rice can absolutely remain part of a healthy, balanced diet. The key is respecting proper storage, refrigeration, and reheating practices. Sometimes it's not the food itself that threatens your health. It's the small, everyday habits surrounding it that make the biggest difference. Spinach and other leafy greens have earned an excellent reputation for supporting healthy aging. They're rich in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and plant compounds that help protect the heart, eyes, and brain. For adults over 50, these vegetables can be an important part of a balanced diet. But when it comes to reheating them, there are a few important things worth understanding. You may have heard claims that reheating spinach is toxic or should never be done. The truth is a little more nuanced. Reheating spinach once, when it has been stored properly in the refrigerator, is generally considered safe. The bigger concern is repeatedly reheating it or leaving cooked spinach at room temperature for extended periods before refrigerating it. Those practices increase the risk of bacterial growth, which is a much more significant food safety issue than reheating alone. Another factor to consider is nutrition. Spinach is naturally rich in vitamin C and folate, two nutrients that are sensitive to heat. Every time spinach is cooked or reheated, some of these valuable nutrients are lost. While the vegetable still contains beneficial fiber, minerals, and antioxidants, repeated heating gradually reduces its overall nutritional value. In other words, the more times you warm it up, the less of its original nutritional benefit remains. After the age of 50, preserving every bit of nutrition becomes increasingly important. Your body relies on vitamins and minerals to support immune function, maintain healthy bones, protect vision, and promote normal brain function. Choosing cooking methods that preserve nutrients can make a meaningful difference over time. Think of spinach like a rechargeable battery. The first use delivers excellent performance, but each additional cycle slowly reduces its capacity. Similarly, freshly cooked spinach offers the highest nutritional value, while repeated reheating gradually drains some of the nutrients that make it so beneficial in the first place. There's also the matter of texture and flavor. Freshly cooked spinach has a tender texture and a pleasant, earthy taste. After multiple reheating cycles, it often becomes overly soft, watery, and less enjoyable to eat. While this may not directly affect safety, it certainly affects the overall quality of the meal. A practical solution is surprisingly simple. If you're preparing spinach for several meals, cook only the amount you expect to eat, or divide it into smaller portions immediately after cooking. Refrigerate those portions promptly in airtight containers. When it's time for your next meal, reheat only the serving you plan to eat, leaving the remaining portions undisturbed in the refrigerator. This helps preserve both quality and safety. For even better results, consider adding fresh leafy greens at the end of cooking rather than preparing large batches days in advance. You can also enjoy spinach in salads, smoothies, or lightly sautéed dishes where minimal cooking helps retain more of its natural nutrients. The takeaway isn't that spinach should be avoided after 50, quite the opposite. It remains one of the healthiest vegetables you can eat. The key is treating it with care. Proper refrigeration, avoiding repeated reheating, and preparing reasonable portions allow you to enjoy its many health benefits while maintaining the highest possible food quality and safety. Chicken and seafood are among the healthiest sources of high-quality protein, especially after the age of 50. They help maintain muscle mass, support immune function, and provide essential nutrients that become increasingly important as we grow older. However, these foods also require the greatest care when it comes to storing and reheating. In many cases, the problem isn't reheating itself, it's the way leftovers are handled between meals. After cooking, chicken and seafood should never be left sitting on the kitchen counter for long periods. Harmful bacteria can multiply rapidly when food remains in what food safety experts call the danger zone, where temperatures allow bacteria to grow quickly. Even if the food still smells and looks perfectly normal, dangerous microorganisms may already be present. unpleasant. Unlike spoiled food that develops an unpleasant odor or appearance, contaminated food often gives no warning signs at all. For adults over 50, this is especially important because the body's natural defenses against foodborne illness gradually become less effective with age. Stomach acid production may decrease, the immune system becomes less responsive, and recovery from infections often takes longer. A meal that causes only mild stomach discomfort in a younger adult could lead to severe dehydration, hospitalization, or other complications in an older individual. One of the most common mistakes people make is reheating the same chicken or seafood multiple times. Imagine preparing a large casserole or tray of baked chicken. Each day, you remove the entire dish from the refrigerator, allow it to sit on the counter while serving dinner, heat the whole container, eat a portion, and then return the leftovers to the refrigerator. Every cycle exposes the food to changing temperatures, giving bacteria more opportunities to multiply if the food isn't handled carefully. A much safer approach is to divide cooked chicken or seafood into individual meal-sized portions immediately after it is cooled. Store each portion in a clean, airtight container and remove only the amount you plan to eat. This simple habit limits temperature fluctuations and reduces unnecessary handling, helping maintain both safety and quality. Proper reheating is equally important. Food should be heated thoroughly until it is steaming hot all the way through, not just warm on the outside. Cold spots, especially when using a microwave, can allow bacteria to survive. Stirring food halfway through reheating or allowing it to rest for a minute afterward helps distribute heat more evenly. Seafood deserves even greater attention because it tends to spoil more quickly than many other cooked foods. Fish, shrimp, crab, and similar seafood should be refrigerated promptly after cooking and consumed within a relatively short period. If you're unsure how long leftovers have been sitting in the refrigerator, it's always safer to throw them away than to take the risk. Another helpful habit is labeling leftovers with the date they were prepared. It may seem unnecessary, but many people simply forget when food was cooked. A small piece of masking tape with the date written on it can prevent uncertainty later in the week and make it easier to enjoy leftovers while they're still at their best. Ultimately, chicken and seafood remain excellent choices for healthy aging. They're packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that help preserve strength and support overall wellness. The secret isn't avoiding these foods, it's respecting basic food safety practices. By refrigerating leftovers promptly, storing them in individual portions, reheating them thoroughly, and avoiding repeated reheating, you can continue enjoying these nutritious meals with greater confidence and peace of mind.